Hello, I'm Alex Polyakov and I run customer solutions at DBOS. Today I am joined by Yunfan Ye, who is a member of the technical staff at Yutori AI. I've had the pleasure of working with the Yutori team for the last few months. And in that short time period, Yutori built and released Scouts, which are AI agents that monitor the web for things you care about. Yutori chose to use DBOS Transact and DBOS Cloud to make Scouts reliable and scalable. And today we'll talk about how they made that decision and what their DBOS journey looked like. At the same time, many of us here at DBOS started using Scouts in our daily work, and we find it to be a very useful tool. Obviously, this was a great collaboration between the two companies, and we're very excited to talk about it today. So, without further ado, Yufan, would you like to start by introducing yourself and telling us what Yutori does?
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for the great introduction. Yutori is a Japanese concept that translates roughly to spaciousness or breathing room. So the idea is we will take care of the things people don't enjoy in life or like just simply repetitive tasks so that we can create room for people to focus on what they really interested in and enjoy. The ultimate vision of the company is to build the best AI assistant to make space for meaningful things in life. And ultimately, you want to give everyone a AI chief of staff. Me personally, actually, as a kid, I actually already hate repetitive tasks a lot. Just to give an example, I play games as a kid, and then for some games, you have to do daily tasks to gain some tools or points or experience so that the character will grow stronger to beat monsters. And then those daily tasks are quite repetitive. So as a kid, I build some scripts. So it's kind of the machine learning at a time, like very traditional machine learning at a time, to play games automatically for me. So when I heard the concept of Yutori and the company's mission, I decided to join the company. Um, yeah, and then before Yutori, I actually work on both Meta and Google. In Google, it's Google Assistant. It's kind of also related to uh, getting rid of the repetitive task and daily tasks in life. And then in Meta, I work on training large language models.
And so, can you tell us a bit more about what Scouts are? Who are they designed for? Who do they help, and how do they work?
Great question. So our ultimate vision is to build AI chip stuff, but we decided to start with Scouts. The idea is simple. AI chip stuff will just taking information and then act on the information. Scouts is kind of the first stage. We kind of gather information only. Um, so basically, the idea is everyone may have a routine every day. So maybe when we wake up, I will look at AI news. I will check AI papers, and then look at some celebrities I follow. For all these routines, Scout can do all those scoring and clicking, and then gather information and summarize them into some nicely formatted article. And then I just read over those summary. That's the idea of the Scout. And Scout basically you can take in any natural language queries and then gather information in any format people want. Um, the next step, of course, it's add on the information, but that's what we are actively working on.
So, and I hear you have a demo that you can do right here. Would love to see it in action.
Here is Scout creation page. In the Scout creation page, we have some Scout templates for you to get inspiration on. So for example, you can have news, you can book reservations, you can also have housing queries. For demo purpose, maybe just book a restaurant in SF. The query is in SF, but it can be any natural language query. There's no limitation on that. So let's create this query. While after creation, the Scout will be running in background to gather information and then find the tables. While the Scout is doing that, we can just create a new Scout. So let's say I'm just selling products to potential prospect customers. Let's say I'm DBOS. I actually don't know about what DBOS is looking for. but maybe I can ask Scout to do that. So I say, okay, I'm a salesperson in DBOS, maybe a durable execution platform and job scheduler. I'm looking for customers, and then maybe find potential companies that could be interested in our technology. And then I can create this Scout. After creating Scout, maybe I realize, okay, maybe I need to make some more conditions. For example, I only interested in AI companies. So, and if it's small AI company, probably they don't have money to pay for a service. So I want AI companies with fundings. So I can say, look specifically for companies, AI companies actually, AI companies that just raise funding. Maybe when they just raise funding, they have money to spend. So that's the actual introduction I gave my Scouts. So with this, I can just update my Scout, and then the Scout will look for the new information. The Scouts has now finished. Let's check the result. We can see that it returned the availability from open table, and then it's the 5 days and night perfect. And then all the prime slots, and then
I want to go.
Nice.
That was
Maybe
great.
we can have Scouts to book time for us to chat. And yeah, also AI companies with fresh fundings, we find a few here. Maybe Alex, you should check out them. We also
Yes,
have their official websites, so maybe you can get more information there. Maybe you can also use Scouts to digging more into these companies and to see if any of them are of specific interest.
that is outstanding. Um, a great demo, a great overview of your product. Can you talk about what the tech stack underneath looks like for Scouts? What languages are you using? I know you have a lot of it hosting in DBOS Cloud, but you have adjacent infrastructure. So talk to me about the architecture at a high level.
Different languages. So for the backend, it's primarily Python. I mean, we are a AI company, and then for almost any machine learning applications, Python is the most popular language. So we build our own Python stack and then multi-agent infrastructure in Python. For the front end, we mainly use TypeScript. Just use all the popular TypeScript libraries, and then many technology layer like we use Vercel, and the backend we use Postgres. Postgres will actually use the hosted version of Neon.
So one other question I have is, tell me more about your observability story. How do you observe the logs and the traces for your app? And what was that story like before DBOS, and what is that story like now that you're using DBOS?
Initially, we actually built our own kind of logging. So we kind of log to the log file, and then we just examine those log files. And then we always thinking about moving to Hotel, because
Mhm.
it's an open source standard, and then it would have structured data, which is easier to query on. But we actually make the switch once we move to DBOS, because DBOS has a native Hotel support, which makes things much easier, and then we have all the attributes there. It actually probably wouldn't have taken us too much time to add those ourselves, but we're kind of lazy, so it's nice that we switch to DBOS and then we get it for free. And then once we switch to Hotel, we kind of use some Hotel providers like Honeycomb. From Honeycomb dashboard, we can do like SQL-like queries for certain results, and then zoom into certain areas where, say, the latency is low, where the cost is high. Yeah.
So as you were building this, what challenges were you facing that first made you think about DBOS?
Yeah, great question. So initially, as our logging solution, we actually built some in-house job scheduler. We were thinking this kind of for demo purposes, so kind of build it pretty quickly using some AI-assisted coding. While we built it for like a day, but debugging was a pain. We kind of have many corner cases where, let's say, when a scout finishes, actually need to send an email to users of summarize all the findings. We want to make sure every time a scout finds something, we send an email. But for our internal solution, sometimes the scout finishes, but the email wasn't sent. Sometimes the email was sent twice, mainly because it's a distributed system. There are some errors. Our internal solution just don't have the like fault tolerance. Uh, that's when we start searching for some durable execution or job scheduler out there. The first solution we found was kind of apparently temporal, because temporal was kind of the most famous in the space. Um, but while we are exploring using temporal, a colleague of mine found DBOS. Um, we feel this is a new technology, and then I have a philosophy that we try to reduce the dependencies. We are already using Postgres, and DBOS is built solely on Postgres. While for temporal, we need some external orchestrator, so let's add extra dependency. So I think this is a nice idea. Also, Postgres is quite popular. It's kind of everything built on Postgres. So we kind of want to consolidate our stack into just DBOS. So we kind of start exploring DBOS as well. And then at a time, we found after using DBOS, we realized it's also much easier to switch to DBOS than Tempora, mainly because we just need some Python decorators to decorate those functions. We already have our existing multi-agent framework. If we use temporal, we may need to rewrite the whole thing to using temporal's like orchestrator workflow, etc. It won't be hard, but it requires some work. Um, Using DBOS, we just simply annotate all of things, and then it's much easier. So we talked to DBOS teams, especially Alex. We found that DBOS team is very exceptional, and then they are super responsive. Like we ask a question, and then within minutes, Alex will reply. So we were really impressed by the team. So we decided let's go for DBOS.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and really glad you found us. So it certainly sounds like it was a case of a simple architecture, ease of use, and the fact that you were already using Postgres, and Postgres is all you need to use DBOS, was a great fit, if you
Correct,
will.
exactly. Yep, yep.
That's great. And so once you made the decision to integrate with DBOS and started building on DBOS, what was that like?
Great question. Integration with DBOS actually was quite easy. As I said, we just add some decorators, and then it started working. Although we started using DBOS quite early, I think at a time, maybe DBOS was even in the beta mode, like before the 1.0 release. So there were some bugs. So we actually spent time digging into all the bugs. Um, yeah, so Alex and the DBOS team were super helpful in figuring out all those bugs. And along the way, it's also super impressive to see the team making the product better and better. And then I think lots of features we currently enjoy using wasn't were available at the time, and then those are super helpful. It's great to see you guys go so fast and then make such big improvements.
You use the DBOS durable library, DBOS Transact Python, and you also use DBOS Cloud, and you're running Scouts on DBOS Cloud. So, can you talk about what it's like to use the cloud for ongoing operations, CI/CD, rolling out updates, things like that?
Yeah, using DBOS Cloud is easy, quite easy as well. I mean, we have considered like self-host, and then we feel that using DBOS will make things easier. There's like auto scaling, and then we just click a button, run some script, it will launch on DBOS Cloud. I think when we just started, there are also some I don't know, at least some aspects we don't fully understand. And then along the way, we also build some scripts or processes how to better launch on DBOS. And then I remember that initially we probably talk to DBOS team every day, and then every week we have lots of to discuss, like what feature to add, how do we want to dig into different kind of failures, and then how do we improve different kind of things. Um, but after some improvements, I think right now, kind of we don't talk much, which is a good thing. We can focus actually on executing our like business, what's like core of our business. And then for like the weekly meeting, we also kind of make it bi-weekly, and then we kind of skip some meetings as well. Generally, I think it's a indicator of the whole process has been running smoothly, so we don't have to do manual work, which is great for us. So as a staff, especially, so we can focus on what really matters for us.
Yeah, so it does sound like there was a bit of learning curve there, and it's fair to say that we learned a lot from each other as a big user of DBOS and as the provider of DBOS. I remember we had conversations about how versioning works, right? And how
Right.
when DBOS Cloud um, deploying a new app creates VMs of a new version, but doesn't automatically shut down VMs of the old version. And that can be counterintuitive to someone who hasn't seen the behavior before. So, can you talk about are you able to leverage that well now, that kind of pattern?
Yeah, great question. Great question. Actually, that's a great point. I think we kind of bugged by this multiple times. Especially when we just started. I think the switch over time was quite long. Like maybe when we shut down the old app, the new app uh start running, and then the new workflow sometimes still go to the old version even after say half a minute or minute of launch. And then for many other applications, once you do this, the new flows at least you go to the new application. I think DBOS improved this, taking us our feedback and then have improved this a lot. This has been quite helpful for us. Right now, I think it's just a few seconds, and then that makes things much easier. Um, and also, yeah, as you said, there's a learning curve that some old version may be running even hours after it's shut down. We still
Hmm.
see logs from them. So initially, all logs actually are kind of merged together. So we see log lines, some random log lines from old version. So we're like, what? We already updated code. Why still this log line?
Yeah.
So I mean, it actually bother me and then multiple PT members. But right now, I think, first of all, we gain better understanding of the whole system, so we kind of less likely fall into this trap. But also, the system, like DBOS system, and then observability improves that we can now filter by version, and then it's pretty clear the version number, the tag is on log, so that we won't uh, kind of fall into the trap because it's a clear this old version we should ignore. So I think all this kind of both from the understanding point of view and then also tool perspective together, like make things much easier for us.
Excellent. And can you comment on if you didn't have DBOS, if you didn't have DBOS Cloud, how would you go about rolling out this whole architecture and building it? And what would that look like in terms of effort?
Oh, great question. We've never tried other framework, so I mean we explored, but we didn't like deeply try. So it's hard to say like what happens otherwise. Um, so I would imagine if we use Tempora, then maybe we will need to rewrite the whole thing. So this will
Mm.
delay our launch potentially. And then after rewrite, I mean, there's always, I mean, right now it's easy to rewrite because of AI, but usually once we rewrite, there could be some random things we have to spend time to debug. That would be hard to. Um, yeah, some also like AI from AI uh, framework perspective, there are also land graph. So basically, land graph also offers some persistence layer, but it's not really like durable execution. So the the underlying promises a bit different. So we potentially can reuse some of their tag to build our own thing. So that could also LangGraph also has the same problem as Tempora because it's a graph execution engine, which means that we need to reorganize our architecture into a graph. That will take time as well. And then because it may not have all the functionality DBOS offer, so we may also need some like customer or own solution, which will take time. Generally, I think time is the most precious resources for staff. So we would rather focus on what really matter for us instead of spending time to reinvent the wheels.
That's great. That's great. So, as a Scout fan and as a Scout user, what's next on the roadmap? What can you tell me about new and upcoming Scout features?
Great question. Great question. Um, yeah, as I briefly hinted previously, we our ultimate vision is to build chill stuff. So that apparently include like gathering information and then act on information. So right now, for example, for the restaurant example, you will find the tables on OpenTable, but it requires users to book the table. That's extra friction, and then many users, at least myself, or just want to lie on bed and then the agents get everything sorted out. I just do what the agents want me to do, hopefully. So the next step is we can say log into users account. It's not only OpenTable, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Amazon, and then we could just have scouts to gather information and then say make posts on LinkedIn and then also buy items from Amazon. Hopefully the scouts will know I'm running out of, I don't know, toilet paper and will just order toilet paper and deliver to my house. That's my ultimate dream. um, yeah, and we will also improve the general scout to make it more reliable. And then there are many great feedbacks from I think from Alex as well, and then many other users will uh, execute on those feedback and then make the product generally much better. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly strikes me that the web search capability is already great and a great time saver, right? Instead of me Googling for stuff I'm interested in all day, I just have the Scout send me stuff. But when the Scout starts taking actions on my behalf, like making reservations or making purchases, that sounds like durability of DBOS becomes a lot more important, right? It's not just send me an email exactly once, it's charge my credit card exactly once, right? And so
Correct.
that seems
Exactly.
like our durability story will be much more important in that world, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So also sometimes maybe in the execution, sometimes we may need to wait for certain result to happen. For example, when we make a purchase, maybe it will take some time before it's actually like confirmed, and
Mm.
then the agent will need to wait on those things. With the durable execution, we can just write those code as normal Python code and then wait on that thing without worrying about okay, maybe something fell in between and then the agent won't wait on that thing. So this like easy of use make uh, us focus on just making agent work instead of handling all the potential errors and faults.
Yeah. So, as far as final thoughts go, what things would you tell someone who doesn't know about DBoS? What would you tell them about DBoS?
Good question. Um, I think definitely worth trying DBOS. I mean, whether it's just AI agent applications or any new AI things, or even traditional companies. I think durable execution probably applies quite widely to anything. So it's as I said, like for like last like purchase example. So it's mainly a guarantee that you just have durable execution so that you can just focus on the business logic. You don't have to worry about all the errors. In a traditional like architecture, we have to think about okay, what components can go wrong and then how to handle all those errors. With DBoS, all those things are just like lifted from their mind, which is great. So definitely worth trying.
And where can people find Scouts if they want to try one for themselves?
Yeah, it's on our website. So we are still in beta mode. So on yutori.com, join our waitlist. We will gradually open access to everyone on the waitlist. And then we hope we can improve our product more, add all the features I just talked about,
Mm.
and then have GA for everyone, so everyone can actually just join and then start using Scouts. Hopefully, at one point, we all have our own chief staff, so the chief staff just handle everything we don't like, and then we just focus on uh, the things really matter to us, and then we enjoy. Yeah.
Mm. Well, thank you so much, Yunfan. A pleasure and honor working with your team the past few months, and thank you for your time talking to us today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you too. Thanks for having me here. It's also my great honor working with you guys.